What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA camp today. Let's get started. Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo recently discussed Nasruddin Imavov's future when he defeated Israel Adesanya via knockout this past weekend. They both felt that the most sensible course of action would be to play Caio Borralho. Imavov might require another well-publicized bout before he can contend for the middleweight title, as Dana White has often stated that Khamzat Chimaev is the favorite to win the next title, which is most likely to be against the victor of Dricus du Plessis versus Strickland.
I think you give Imavov Khamzat Chimaev. I think stylistically that's not a good fight for him, but there has to be something that needs to go on at the middleweight division. I personally don't think that Strickland should have went in there and fought for the title. I don't know why the UFC did that, and particularly his fight with Pavlovich. It was the most boring fight at middleweight.
Wow.
It was Kamaru. It was super boring. If they're gonna give the title shot to Khamzat Chimaev, probably gonna have to give Imavov Borralho. Imavov and Borralho makes perfect sense.
If Khamzat Chimaev doesn't want to wait, I think you have to do Chimaev versus Imavov, and winner fights the winner of Strickland versus du Plessis. But if that's not the case, you do Imavov versus Caio Borralho. He hasn't had that star breakout performance yet to where his name is thrown into that short list of who's next to fight for the title. See, I think Chimaev is next, and then I think Imavov versus Borralho gets the winner of that.
Daniel Cormier and Michael Bisping argued about the place of wrestling in mixed martial arts. Olympic wrestler DC, who leaned heavily on wrestling during his UFC career, vehemently disagreed with Bisping's assertion that classical wrestling on a mat does not translate well to mixed martial arts. John and Nick intervened and attempted to refocus the discussion when things became heated.
Wrestling in a mixed martial arts fight against the fence,
and that's what I was going to say. The
nothing
fence
like actual wrestling on.
That's what I mean by a small part of wrestling.
It doesn't exist. Like Callum is a way better wrestler than me. I will pick him up and
slam him on his
and I've done it, and he's like, yeah, but that's that bull in a cage. But real wrestlers suck balls.
But here's the problem.
You bring any of those guys in a cage, unless they learn how to do it in a cage, I will head kick
all you gotta do.
They suck, and that's why most of them can't do.
Look, all you gotta do. No, here's the thing. All you gotta
wrestlers
do. This is where people struggle with that. Don't wrestle double legs. All these guys know how to defend double legs. He can't defend a single leg.
Oh,
that's
I can.
What people, no, you can't.
You put me up against the fence, DC. You could not take me down with a single leg.
Guys,
even with my bad hips, my bad neck.
Single leg defense.
Rapid Fire is actually the name of the segment. No, I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. I love wrestling and wrestling maintenance conversations, but we got to spin it forward. So if Dricus...
Single leg, I could stop you, DC. Oh, I could stop you.
We've got enough space here.
No, get a cage. Again, there's an octagon right there.
Take your picks.
We're not going to do that right now.
Bad neck and all.
So
I'm telling you,
if Dricus... Let's see.
Jon Jones said on social media that a major news would be made in the next 24 hours. Many fans conjectured that Jon would be revealing a heavyweight title defense against Tom Aspinall after he used hashtags like #NSTL, #GetReady, and #TheChampIsHere in his posts. But that wasn't the case. Jon posted this video on X today. He wrote, "Well, this may not be a traditional fight for me. It's obvious that too many Americans are being hurt and forced into medical debt or bankruptcy by a healthcare system so greedy that hospitals and insurers hide their actual prices so they can charge us whatever they want. Their quote-unquote estimates are, and the corporate greed in American healthcare is breaking people and families across the United States. I've seen it countless times in my own community where I have friends, family, and neighbors who are afraid to even get the care they need because the entire system, without real prices up front, is dishonest and rigged for corporate profit. Time to hold these healthcare bullies accountable. Power to the people. Power to the patients."
Thanks for joining me today. This next fight for me is a personal one, but it's not just for me. It's for every American who's ever been bullied, robbed, or deceived. It's arguably the most important fight of my career. My next opponent will be the American healthcare system. I'll be joining Power to the Patients to take on hospitals, PBMs, and insurance companies that refuse to show us their prices so that they can overcharge us while raking in enormous profits. We should know that an MRI could cost $600 or $6,000 so that we can avoid overpaying. In America, we shouldn't have to advocate for honesty and accountability in healthcare, but here we are. It's time we all fight for real prices and transparency in healthcare. God bless America, and power to the patients.
The vast majority of fans were disappointed that the announcement did not include the much-anticipated Aspinall battle, even if other supporters voiced their support in the answers. Was this the announcement? We thought you were announcing the Tom fight, so you're not fighting Aspinall? Blue-balled. If you thought this was going to be a fight announcement, congratulations. You played yourself, bro. Bamboozled the world. This gif of the words hopes and dreams being crushed. This photo of Dana White looking unimpressed. Vacate the belt, John, reading the room. Not even once. An excellent marketing move by this company, but dang, this is not what any UFC fan wanted to hear. Dominick Cruz has withdrawn from his fight against Rob Font and retired from MMA. Cruz used X to convey the news last night. He wrote, "To the fans worldwide, I have poured every ounce of myself into this sport for the last 25 years. I was really hopeful for one final fight, but unfortunately, 2 shoulder dislocations in 8 months call an end to this guy's career. I gave everything I had and put it into preparation and training for this fight, focusing on my cardio and my body for the past year, but sometimes the body just doesn't cooperate. The pain isn't as bad now that my shoulder is back in place, but the second dislocation was far more complicated than the first. This sport has been everything to me. It's helped shape who I am. Thank you to the UFC for building this platform and paving the way for fighters like myself and so many others. The UFC broke barriers to set the stage, not just for us fighters, but also for every MMA sports organization that followed them across the bridge created throughout politics in order to allow our sport to take place legally in the United States and now the world. I'm incredibly grateful to everyone who booked tickets, hotels, and flights to support me. Thank you all for being there through every moment, every victory, and every challenge. You've made this journey unforgettable. Thank you for the love and support. I will carry it with me always. With love, Dominic." Israel Adesanya is now evaluating his defeat by Nasruddin Imavov via knockout. He posted video of himself rewatching the bout to his Instagram feed with the comment, "Get back to work."
I'm at the center of the octagon right now. Cheeky trip attempt.
This is where Imavov's team said they wanted the fight. They wanted to get
Michael Bisping expects neither Dricus du Plessis nor Sean Strickland to win their rematch. Bisping contends that Dricus was the legitimate winner of their first bout, despite the opinions of many fans and commentators who think Strickland won. He concedes, though, that it was a close race and that any way the outcome could have been.
I don't think either man gets a finish.
No, I agree. I agree,
just
Michael.
So tough.
Yeah.
I just can't see Strickland finishing Dricus and vice versa. I'm the minority. I thought Dricus won the first one. I think when you go, it was a close fight. And in fact, Brian, just look up. Can you look up the amount of strikes landed by each guy in the first fight? Forward momentum for the most part was on the side of Dricus.
For sure. The momentum and
the
forward
bigger,
pressure.
more damaging punches were on the side of Dricus. The takedowns were on the side of Dricus, and just the general pressure was on the. I'm not saying Sean didn't do a lot of good stuff. I'm not saying that. I thought he had some great moments. What I'm saying is Dricus had the big show-stealing moments when a round is close and a judge considers who do I give it to. When things are kind of even, they'll look at, all right, who was going forward, who was the aggressor, even though takedowns don't really matter that much now. Who got them? If everyone lands 10 punches, but one guy lands a takedown, then you'll give it to the guy with the 10 punches and the takedown. Do you know what I'm saying? So I agreed with Dricus, but it was close, and that's why I'm not scratching my head when people have the other opinion. I'm like, yeah, I get it.
After losing to Sergey Pavlovich unanimously, Jairzinho Rozenstruik was reportedly removed from the UFC. Fans are confused by this decision, especially considering that Rozenstruik had won 2 straight fights before losing to Pavlovich. Taito Ivasa, who has lost 5 straight fights, has been retained by the UFC. Today on X, Rozenstruik addressed the matter. He wrote, "Let's talk about UFC Saudi Arabia. I came to Riyadh to win and pull off the upset. After a strong fight week, I felt dizzy on Saturday due to the paint fumes. Then, just 70 seconds into the fight, I injured my left foot the moment my switch kick landed on his elbow. I felt it instantly and knew the fight would play out differently than planned. At the end of 2018, I signed my first contract with the UFC, embarking on an incredible journey. I've been honored to compete on the biggest stage, and I want to express my deepest gratitude to the UFC staff for their professionalism and support over the years. From being Rookie of the Year to becoming an MMA veteran, this has been an unforgettable adventure. While this chapter closes, my story is far from over. I will continue to fight, take on new challenges, and settle unfinished business in the cage. I'm ready for whatever comes next. Since then, several fighters, including Terrence McKenna and Jasmine Jasudavicius, who were on the same card, have backed up Rozenstruik's accusations. They also mentioned that the paint fumes had a bad impact on them.
Plus, like, we were in the back huffing paint, like.
Oh, okay.
I even felt it a little bit too, like, and I was like, like, and this is probably the best cardio I had, like, ever in any fight. Like, I've been running like 5 miles every other day. And no, I felt it, like, from the paint. Well, they did try to help us, like, taking some of the sealing off, but like I said, it affected Lucas' breathing. Like, he had to go, like, the hospital like 2 times.
All right, wow.
And Mike Davis definitely was feeling it too. He told me so. Like, a lot of other fighters were feeling it too. So, like, we weren't just the only ones. So
they, like, freshly made the rooms, like the I feel like it must have been the day before. I think it was like right before slap fight, because I talked to the slap fight guys. They were in the same hotel as us, so like it was really cool talking to them.
Ray Longo discussed the Dricus du Plessis-Sean Strickland rematch, assuming that the fight will go like their first meeting. Like their first fight, which Dricus won by split decision, Longo thinks it will be a close fight. Longo acknowledged, though, that the outcome of the first fight might have gone either way, and that he is still unsure of the winner of the rematch.
Ray Longo, before we go, Dricus du Plessis about a 2-1 favorite over Sean Strickland for the rematch. Who do you like?
Wow. I'm going to say I think it's going to be the exact same fight it was the first time. I don't know who the decision's going to go to. I think the decision could easily went to Strickland. But yeah, let's see. It's going to be I think it's definitely going to be a decision, and it's going to be a very close fight, as was the first.
Before he retires from mixed martial arts, Dustin Poirier wants to compete one last time. In an interview with the Schmo yesterday, Dustin, who is currently coming off a 5th-round submission loss to Islam Makhachev, the current lightweight champion, gave an update on his most recent bout. He continued by saying, "I wish I could tell you more. I've actually been having calls every week with the UFC, but it's looking like summer in New Orleans is close to happening for my retirement fight. A pay-per-view in New Orleans this summer would be incredible. That's what I'm pushing for. That's what the UFC is working toward, and things are getting pretty close. Lay the gloves down where it all started, in Louisiana. It would be an honor for me." In a UFC 312 Q&A, Daniel Cormier was questioned if Jon Jones is the greatest MMA fighter. Even though DC agreed that Jon Jones is among the best, he maintained that his repeated drug test failures disqualify him from becoming the undisputed GOAT. DC stated, "You really can't deny his greatness, right? Look at what he has done. The guy has really fought through 3 generations of fighters. He fought that early generation with Lyoto Machida and them. He went through my generation, and now he's fighting a whole other generation of guys. So yeah, of course, he's one of the greatest fighters of all time, but when you do dirty you don't get to be called the greatest of all time." Alex Pereira is preparing Sean Strickland for his title rematch with Dricus du Plessis in Australia, ahead of his championship defense against Magomed Ankalaev at UFC 313. Alex recently posted video of himself sparring with UFC featherweight Diego Lopes, demonstrating his training while juggling his own fight camp.